So Ricky Starks, after being released just 24 hours ago by AEW, like officially, has debuted on NXT. Like this was a genuine surprise. Like everyone thought that he would show up, but nobody thought it would be this quick. Like either like he got released and they just contacted him ASAP and were like, if he was in Florida he probably drove, but was he in Florida? I don't think so. And they were like, we'll give you a jet, come over here, sign this contract. But I think probably he probably had like a lucha bro situation. They probably had the contract out for him like a year ago or something, and he just uh, signed it right now because he was there ASAP. Like he was doing indie dates. I don't think he was in Florida, and he came out from the crowd, of course, like saying that NXT is the hottest place right now. I'm here to turn the place upside down. Like the revolution is televised again, and that was that. And it was before the Tony D and Ridge Holland match. I like, will he be on the next week episode? Maybe he'll get like a enhancement match or something, or maybe he is the one who, with along with Tony D, like helps Tony D against Sean Spears and his whole group, and then goes after the Tony D's championship because it kind of makes sense. Like he showed up before the North American steel cage match. And let's talk about the North American Championship Steel Cage. It was a normal match, but like it felt like it didn't need the cage. Like okay, like they smashed each other on the cage. Like people could enter the cage because of the it is a cage. People could enter it. But apart from that, it didn't feel like it really needed a cage. Like only the ending, which was it was not a horrible match, but it was a nothing match, I would say. And Tony D, like he needs people who are like better in the ring to get himself over. And they really have to look at this Tony D character. You had a character in Chase You, a team, which was something that could get over on main roster television also. Like Alpha Academy got over. Like they could be like heels who start as heels, heel jobbers who eventually are so loved due to their charisma and their them being a bunch of like uh, funny funny people. They get over with the crowd and they become faces, and they could have gotten over that way, but you didn't. You released Duke Hudson, who was like one of the good wrestlers of them. The rest of them, after Ridge Holland beat Andre Chase, are just doing nothing. And Andre Chase is involved in these like badly acted backstage segment with Kate Dixon, who is like, oh, but there is no school time anymore. Okay, well, it's because Chase is over. Only good actor is Andre Chase in those segments, not Kale Dixon. Like I don't get what are they going to do. Maybe they're gonna have a Sec 2.0 version of Chase You. Maybe they realize their mistake, but they have to do something with it. Like it's been like what months. The Ridge Holland experiment has not worked. Ridge Holland works better when he's in a tag team. We saw that in Chase U as well. Some people are meant to be tag team wrestlers, and that's not a bad thing. If you want Ridge Holland to be something, have him be in a tag team. Like after the match ended, because there was a kick out which was genuine. Like Ridge Holland beat up Tony D'Angelo with like the wrench which through in the ring, stacks through in the ring. He gave his finisher and Tony D'Angelo kicked out, which was a genuine kick out that got me. But then Tony D'Angelo eventually hit him with the same wrench, hit him with the spine buster and won. After the match, Ridge Holland became angry, chased out Stacks and the other guy. Well, they were beating him. The way they ran to the back, it felt like all three of them were on skates or something because of the way they just ran into the back. Then it was Sean Spears and his flock, which kind of began coming towards Tony D'Angelo and the family. But then what happened when they were like closing the door? Easy Dame attacked Tony D'Angelo from the back with the wrench. I mean, Easy Dame looks like someone who will betray you. Like she looks like a person who cannot be trusted. So she did that, and then Sean Spears beat his ass. They couldn't enter the cage because they locked the cage, and Sean Spears then gave him like hit him with the chair like repeatedly with that extra smack. Then he gave him his finisher from the top rope, and that's how the show ended. They're really putting, like, even though like they are not ratings getters, like we saw the last week's charts, like it went from like 840K on the Roxanne Bailey segment last week to like what, 8, not even 800K, 740 or something, 760 or something, when Sean Spears and Tony D'Angelo all had their segment. Tony D'Angelo needs people who can carry him essentially. Like he can work well, and he needs like stories with people who are good. Like there's a reason why Oba and Tony worked so well. There's a reason why these are not working so well. Like Tony needs someone who is like on his levels of charisma and character, or a little bit on a higher pedestal than him. Like Tony being like the man, like sometimes doesn't like work well for him in storylines. Also, you had other things on the show, like Zarya and Sol Ruka were confronted by Nikita Lyons, and Nikita was doing the Sol Ruka is holding you back, and Zarya was like no, and then they had a match which was a squash match essentially, but Nikita got some offensive. She did her stretch legs, camel clutch. Zarya got the win, and like she had that, like this is a singles match after a while. One thing you can say is like at least Zarya has a spot on the card, and Sol Ruka is now in the zone where she is a woman who actually matters in booking. Otherwise, she was always a woman who was a good wrestler, had a good look, Hawaiian music also good, like who does moves and is over with the crowd, but not really like in Sean's eyes as a woman who is like a top woman, who is booked as a top one, or a woman who they actually see as they she can carry the company or something. But now, right now, that because Sol Ruka is with Zarya, who they see as someone who is a star in the future, I think it will rub off on Sol Ruka. They'll probably book her well, because Sol Ruka, you don't really have to do much so that she can get over. And with Zarya, like till I think like Stephanie has had a good enough reign, or Fallon Henley is like over the Stephanie Wacker stuff, we'll probably not get much singles action from Zarya. Like they're facing Jakara and Lash next week, and I think probably whenever the final toxic attraction, whatever their name is, like whenever their feud with Stephanie ends, I think Zarya and Sol Ruka will probably have a feud, with ending with Zarya winning against Henley, then probably challenging Wacker, or probably going to Julia. I think that will happen, and if they have a split or something, you can get Sol Ruka involved in that. You also had a backstage segment where Fallon Henley and her goons were walking around and were like, we need numbers. But then Fallon was like, she doesn't even have friends apart from Julia, but Julia is busy. And then she was confronted with Kalani, and Kalani like had a very cringe line where she said, "You have not faced this new version of Kalani Jordan," because Fallon said that you already got your rematch. She was confronted by Jada. Jada was like, yeah, you got unfinished business with me and all. Then Ashante, why didn't they have Carmen in this segment? I don't know. Like is she on a break? Like Ashante came out so that she beat you both, and then they had like an argument. So Fallon was like, you get all you all handle this among yourselves. I'm gonna go from here. So she went. So probably that means like Stephanie wins, and probably on NXT television, like one of them is her challenger. like first challenger on like NXT TV. That will happen, and I'm glad, like someone said on Twitter, and I'm glad NXT is going on the road mode because sometimes NXT crowds just chant shit like which doesn't even make sense, maybe because of the mics, or maybe I'm like they just do it to pop themselves off. Like half the times I couldn't get it. Like the show started immediately with Cora versus Bailey. Like this match was nothing special, it was fast, but one thing it was not slow. Cora Jade's matches are 90% of the times very slow and very like Cora not really doing the moves like 100% seamlessly. In this match, everything was done seamlessly. You had, Roxanne coming out as Bailey, which I didn't like at first, but okay, it works in her character. But, which caused Bailey to get distracted. But she did not lose with that. She went outside. She got, you know, she beat up Roxanne some more than Cora. Cora got the advantage. She went for a finisher. She gave her finisher and she beat Bailey. Her biggest win in her career. Then Ava announced that because Cora has got a win, she's added to the match. Which, if you look at the story which has been happening in the past 3 weeks, it makes sense. Not before that, but the past 3 weeks, it kind of makes sense why Cora is in the match. Though one thing is, if the match went a little bit longer, the win against Bailey would have felt much better, and the announcer should have acted a little bit more like shocked. Also, it didn't feel that shocking because that's not the way that they presented. Oh, it's a shock win, but not like the shock. It should be like what a shock win, but it wasn't that. It was a shock win. It was not like, oh my god, Cora just defeated Bailey. It was not like that. They had a backstage segment where Bailey had a good line. She was like, "You finally look good for once, dressed like this, you ugly idiot." And shades of heel Bailey. I still like she kept that from her heel stuff. Then Cora came up and she was like, "You said nah, it's my time to be champion." So yeah, I'm going to be NXT champion on this Sunday. There's going to be a new champion. And because Roxanne said, I was just talking about how there's going to be a new champion because she was saying that she was going to be a 3-time women's champion, but she didn't want Cora to know. But when Cora went out, she was like, over my dead body, which I think got a little bit of a gas from the NXT crowd. They didn't expect her to say, over my dead body and all that. Then you also had you know, Jimon Evans signing the contract where WWE won't be liable if something happened to him. Like we know in real life also they are not really liable for anything. So that happened. You had the Ethan Page promo, which was this was the Ethan Page promo where he looked the more the the less the the most less ridiculous, that is not a word, in his promo. Like he was essentially like this, you're gonna win a lot of championships but you want vengeance, you're stubborn. So at the on this Saturday, you are not going to just lose. I'm going to shatter your jaw. You're gonna need a new career. It was a very good promo package for Ethan Page, hyping up their match. You had the triple threat tag team match, probably the match of the night. Like I really liked this match. Like Josh Briggs was moving like a beast in the ring. Inamura was awesome. Hank and Tank was good too. No Quarter Catch Crew are great as well. I hope that they use especially Tavlon Heights in a better role. Like he just came from Japan. Your mid card needs people like Tavlon, Charlie Dempsey going for the North American Championship and all. I hope they add him there also. He can still be a tag team, but I hope they add him there. Inamura hit a great splash at the end, like a great splash like this at the end, and they won. And Praxium accepted. They said that you're gonna get an NXT tag title shot at Vengeance Day. So Inamura and Briggs are going to face Praxium at Vengeance Day. This was his first proper match. I think he was in a battle royal before, but this was his first proper match. Like they should have had Inamura in more matches. I hope if after they lose at Vengeance Day, I hope that Inamura just does not like go off TV. I hope they keep putting him in matches, have him develop his character more with Briggs also. Like give them good spots. And you also, I think Fatal Four Way makes sense. I think what's probably going to happen, either Jordan Grace is going to be in the crowd on NXT Vengeance Day, or probably after Julia wins the match, because Cora is there to take the win. It's gonna happen. Like someone said on Twitter, like Roxanne and Bailey will be too like into themselves, and Julia will pin Cora. I think either you have Jordan in the crowd, or you have Jordan confronting Julia after the match. I think that's what's gonna happen. You also had a promo package backstage where it was Eddie Thorpe essentially saying that uh, you that they still chant your name, Trick, but they turn off when I come out, and I challenge you to a strap match at Vengeance Day because I deserve to be NXT champion and all. So they are having a strap match at Vengeance Day. Then you had Trick Williams without a shirt uh, in his pants, all oiled up, coming for like a 10-second promo where he just said, okay, I'm ready for my strap match at Wednesday and I'm going to beat Eddie Thorpe's ass. And I like his new character better than what happened last week. Like he's just an aggressive Trick. Like he doesn't say that much. He doesn't do the whoop that like that much. He's just here to beat people up because he wants the NXT Championship back. Then you had the Oba A Town Down Under segment. I think this is the last thing that I'm talking about related to the show, which is kind of a genius thing where A Town Down Under just kind of like took Oba for a ride, like making him look like a fool. Like they were like fighting each other, but at the end they say, "Your trick is not going to work on us." But the ending part didn't make sense to me. That we are going to beat your ass, and then they genuinely started arguing with each other. Oba was standing there seeing that. Then Austin Theory ducked. Grayson Waller punched Oba, and then they gave their finisher to him. Like, why was Oba just standing there? Even if he was standing there, why did he go like to the corner or something? And if this was just a ruse, that they were just acting like that to get Oba off his, to make Oba feel safe, then why did they like genuinely like Grayson almost punch Theory? One thing is, like, the teasers were off main roster TV of an Austin Theory and Grayson Waller breakup, but they are back on NXT, and the crowd actually cares, or they pretend to care, because maybe they're like, oh, oh, and they don't actually care. They're just doing it to pop themselves off. Maybe it's that. Like, the promo was essentially, like them talking about their achievements, and then the other of the 8 down under be like, but now you're shit, but now you're this, and Grayson Waller is like, I got us the tag titles and you're there standing like a cheerleader. Australia was like, I beat John Cena and everything. And I don't know, this segment just kind of made Oba look like a stupid guy. But overall, not a bad NXT. Like, it was fine. It was not something that popped me. There was nothing bad on it, but there was not anything that would make you go, oh, oh. But it was like my emotions before the show and my emotions after the show are normal. And I think sometimes a show has to be that only, not like last week, which was pretty bad. So this was my review. If you like this type of content, like, share, and subscribe. If you don't, share it for those who do. My UPI ID link, OKICICI, is in the description. Donate any amount of money which you can, so that it can help me make YouTube a permanent career option. My social media links, which are my Instagram and Twitter links, are in the description. Go follow me on that. So that was it for me today. So thank you. Goodbye. Alvida.